Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Light Crusader. I'm your host CPC Gamer, and in our last episode, I died to the first boss. Honestly surprised any of you guys came back. Maximum life! I'm going to do that every time. Now, in this room, you are supposed to use these platforms in the corner to make perilous jumps higher and higher so you can save this guy. But smart people will push the chest over here and use it like a footstool. And then they'll attack the guy that they're supposed to be saving anyway, because this is a pretty tricky jump, all told. Actually, I wonder... Nope, can't do that. Okay. Time to do this the easy way. I'm going to show off some magic, which I'm pretty sure this will work. Let's find out. Yes! First time!
Thank you.
Oh, and let's attack him anyway. Why not? Incidentally, we'll be doing that magic thing to solve some puzzles later on in the game, so keep an eye out for that. Now, this is something we haven't seen before. This is a teleporter, which takes you to any other teleporter you have found in the game. I mean, I didn't show it off in the last episode, but that's what's behind door number 3 in the castle. Oh, I also didn't show this off. For some reason, this tree, and only this tree, is flagged as being attackable. I mean, you might not be able to see, but it's throwing sparks every time I hit it. No idea why. I mean, it's not an enemy, it's not a door, it's not anything. You just can attack that tree and get a reaction out of it if you do. I mean, I might mean the guildsman, but I don't remember particularly saying anything. David's mostly a silent protagonist like that. Although, interesting localization choice here. In this version, the king says, please find out what the guildsmen are up to, while in America, he said, you must find out what the guildsmen are up to. And I'm actually in favor of the American localization in this one. Rescuing these people is less of a favor, it's more something that we have to do. Also, I have to say it's weird how much work went into translating this game. I mean, I mentioned it in the last episode, but there are 6 different English scripts, and that is a lot of time and effort. I mean, especially when you consider that when Treasure localized one of their previous games, Dynamite Heady, they removed the plot completely, save for 1 line of dialogue. I don't know, it's just a weird juxtaposition. But it means that I can say the word juxtaposition, and I am all in favor of doing that. And here we are in level 2. Probably could have put this bit at the end of the last episode, but, you know, too late now, so let's push on. The slimes on this floor have evolved, so they can cast fire magic. And you can deflect it, but that's a matter of... How the hell did a slime parry a sword strike? What was that? What was I saying? Oh yeah, you can reflect certain projectiles, including magic, with the properly timed strike, but that is way too hard to do. I prefer just wailing on the baddies instead. Hello, trustworthy sir or madam, whom I do not remember from the intro, swearing to take your generic revenge. How can I help you today? So this is the framing device for this level. We have to help this man with his legitimate story and collect the 4 orbs to save his son who totally exists. I'm not lying. So, you know, joking aside, I actually really like this stage for 2 reasons. Firstly, it makes the game feel kinda treasury to me. Also, there's me saying it's too hard to reflect magic and I do it on reflex. Nice! But no, I played this game alongside Gunstar Heroes, and I liked that both games let you combine 4 elements in different ways for different effects, and both games include collecting the 4 gems of something or other to continue onwards. Oh, and let's see what that scroll says, how about? Yeah, you said it, game. You gotta get that Turn Undead spell, it's absurdly useful. Now, the other 4 pages are missing, so we have to find them throughout the level. And I am going to eat bread. So yes, I also like this stage because it sets up the grand scheme of things for the rest of the game. And this isn't a beat them room, so off I go! Damn it. I'm convinced you can't avoid that laser at all. Anyways, each level in this game has its own theme and jobs list. And it really helps to break things up, so it's not just 4 hours of simply running around a dungeon. I mean, I had hoped to do 1 level per episode, because that's how each stage feels to me, like an episode in a TV show, you know? Is that laser in position? Hopefully. Yes, it is! The laser has lowered this platform, which means we can reach this switch, open the door, and continue onwards. Alright, I can take a hint. I'm not fighting you. I'm going this way. I'm going to equip Turn Undead. I said it was useful, therefore, it must be. And now I come to do this puzzle. I think I made it way more difficult for myself when I was a teenager. Am I stuck? No, I'm not. Okay. So I would always set the bombs off in quick succession, so it only left me a small window to jump from one platform to the next. Thank goodness for hindsight. Oh, nice. I was not expecting that. Oh, and since I didn't explain it before, here is how equipment works. You can see we've got 3 categories of equipment: sword, armor, and gloves. Now, as you might expect, swords affect your attack, armor affects defense, and it's not entirely clear with gloves, but what they do is they affect your magic. And it's understandable why people would miss that, because a lot of the magic has set effects. Heal always restores 10 HP, shield always protects you from 3 hits, and so on. And confuse literally never does anything. Beat them? Well, I'd love to, but before we do, I'm gonna do something about that ghost! Or talk to the woman some more, why not? See, this is the same problem with using attack and talk as the same button. And you know what? I'm still not going to beat them. I'm going to do... Yes! I remember this one. I know this puzzle. You have to shuffle the bomb over here, set it off, and then use this platform to raise it and hit the switch. Bang! Just like that! And... you know what? Now that I'm looking at this, I think that was a hidden tutorial. Because it shows you that the blast radius of the bomb uses the Z-axis rather than just X and Y. That's very clever, game. Alright, now let's beat them. I love these enemies. They're probably my favorite ones in the whole game, despite their random movement pattern. Well, before I explain why, I do believe... yes, this is a clue to the puzzle in the next room. And one of the most bizarre translation issues that this game has. Now, given the clue is no stars allowed, what do you think we need to do with these statues? Well, I'll tell you. We need to organize them according to their place in the solar system, starting out, heading in. So we have stars, the moon, the Earth, and then the sun. And apparently that counted? Alright then! So, full disclosure, I don't know how the clue no stars allowed fits into this solution. Because in America, the clue is penumbra, which, in astronomy terms, is the name for a shadow cast during an eclipse. And that makes sense, because that's what we just created with the statues. But no stars allowed? No idea, you got me. I mean, I suppose you could reason that we kept the star statue at the back of the line, but the sun was at the front of the line, and the sun is a star, so... I don't know. I'm shrugging, by the way. That translates really well to audio commentary, right? Oh, for crying out loud! You see what I mean about that stupid vector laser? Though thankfully, or not, depending on how you want to look at it, lasers like that ignore your armor. They always do a flat 5 damage per hit. Actually, I'm going to show this off. You can eat eggs to restore your health, but you have to break them open first. Like, that's pretty great. Yeah, it's a dumb little touch that doesn't need to be there, but it is, and I really appreciate it. Now, this way, I do believe. This floor is pretty simple in its layouts. There are 4 iron gates, behind each of which is a fairly linear path to the orb at the end. The problem being that I just got shot through a door! Awesome! Anyways, each orb is protected by a puzzle, and the solution to each of those puzzles is at the opposite end of the level because it is a video game. Like, you've got to pad the runtime somehow, right? Let's kill you, and... well, that's not what I came in here for, but I will take that. Oh, and this room introduces a new mechanic. If we hit the clock, time freezes for everything but David, and this gives us all the time in the world to move the bomb to the door and restart time. And it's a pretty interesting mechanic, but the game doesn't really do anything with it. Like, I think it only uses it in 2 rooms, and that was one of them. So, for this one, somebody looked at Mega Man and went, yeah, it's a pretty good series. Let's copy the Yoku block, because that is clearly the best mechanic. Whoa! I saw you with that fake out at the end game. You didn't get me. I saw you, you desynchronized minx. Now, what's through this door? Because I think this is progression. Fire and Death! Okay, let's not go to the Fire and Death room. Let's solve a puzzle instead. And let's talk a bit about some of the game's cut content. So there is an in-game code that shows off every item in the game, and one unused item is an octahedral gemstone. Now, you can hack it into your inventory, but if you try to do anything with it, you get the "that cannot be used" text, which suggests you are using it in the wrong place. Have I mentioned lately how good I am at platforming, by the way? I know what I'm doing. So this one is only speculation, but I think that the gem looks very similar to the one in these laser generators. I think the designers had planned to have you find an empty rig, collect a crystal from somewhere, and then use it to power the machine. I don't know, it's just my 2 cents. Also, we got a new sword, so let's equip Thunder, which is a pretty badass name for a sword. In Japan, it was called Buster Sword, which really isn't anywhere near as badass as Thunder. Now, let's see if I can do this the cool way for attractive people. Get in there. Okay, no I can't. Never mind. We can still do this. It's still good. Let's do this the way the developers intended. So this switch raises the platform off to the left, which allows us to push the other barrel over the fire columns. So when I was younger, I tried to push it between the columns just to feel cool. Because, I mean, yeah, it takes like 5 times as long to get through the stupid room, and you take a lot of damage, but you feel really cool when you do it. Is that enough? Yes, it is! Okay! I remember this room giving me way more trouble than that in the past. Huh. Oh! And I also remember a secret in here. Didn't mean to do that, but okay. Yeah, I'll save you. Anything else? No, he's done. Okay. So yeah, secret door! Let's not get what I thought was going to be in there. I sure hope I remember where it is, because it's a really cool thing. This is not a really cool thing, because the wizards are the worst enemies in the game, to the point that the game considers 3 of them a boss fight later on. To be fair, they also have worse behavior. Although, right, you see that? When you get them down to 0 health, they don't die, they vanish in a puff of magic with an infuriating chuckle. Like, it's the Cypher Gambit, except it is so much worse. Also, that's what the red potion does. It restores 100 HP. Now, read on! I think probably the only saving grace of these wizards is that they will occasionally cast the Earthquake magic, which doesn't discriminate what it targets, so they will end up attacking one another. And I think more games need to have in-fighting like that one. Alright, puzzle room number 2. AKA the one I could never get right when I was a teenager. So we've got these 4 giant dingle hoppers around the room, and each one makes a different tone when struck. I'm just going to leave and re-enter to reset the puzzle. Now, you remember that music box we picked up? If we use it, it sounds like this. In turn, this relates to the musical notes that we can play around the room. Like so. And then right, up, I think left, right, and down? Yes! I always got the order wrong when I was younger, and that was so frustrating, like, knowing the answer but not quite. Oh, and look at that! The wizards aren't guarding the corridor anymore. But it makes sense, I suppose. Like, you don't need to guard the orb once it has already been stolen. That's a fool's errand! Not like what we're doing. We're collecting the orbs to help that honest, untrustworthy man, whose real son has actually been kidnapped by the totally legitimate, all the time there being a threat to real sons who actually exist Wizards Guild. I'm not lying. And by the way, this is the CPC Gamer Pro strat for dealing with the reverse Yoku blocks. Don't! Just tank the hits. You take like 10 HP damage. It's fine. Oh yeah, and I was going to talk about these. These are my favorite enemy. I like that warm little whoop whoop noise that they make. I like that they have a staggeringly high drop rate for fantastic healing items. And I like that they are the most treasury enemy in the game. Like, Treasure was great at having a row of pulsing circles moving around and making it look like a number of weird and wonderful monsters. So, am I going to get the armor this time? Don't even pretend you're going to put money on that, because the answer is almost certainly no. Though I have to say, I'm still a little bit confused as to why this fight was so much harder with the Guardian spell active. Like, what is meant to happen is you summon the little fairy, and she flies around. And if she's hit with a projectile, no matter what it is, she absorbs it. Well, incidentally, that's the last door that the gold key opens. Anyways, after 3 hits, the Guardian vanishes. And obviously she'd do well against the lily pads, because projectiles are their jam, but I don't know why that would stop me from attacking them in turn. Also, you may be wondering why I did that. You have to step in a teleporter for it to activate. Otherwise, you just know where it is, but you can't do anything with it. Back to now, orb number 3 is probably the one that most people are going to look for first, because the path begins in the same room as the one where you get the key. I mean, it makes sense you just continue forwards into the labyrinth, right? Oh, don't think you can beat me, Goblin Dude, because I can rush you down harder than you can rush me down. Or not. Thanks, Wind Effect, you jammed me right into that wall to take a beating. Oh, and then you went away, so I can't show off the cool trick I normally do. I usually hit that switch by equipping the wind or fire magic and shooting it across the room, because magic is not affected by environmental effects. Now this sure is a puzzle game. Well done. And now it's a boss fight! It's Old Man Willow! I know how to beat you, I have to sing you to death! Hey, Conderi Doll, can you hear me singing? Yes, only the top quality Tom Bombadil references go into my Let's Plays, I tell you what. Also, is he almost dead? He's gonna have like no health or something. Nope, that's fine, I will take that. Man, I had all these notes written for that guy and everything, like how he used to give me nightmares and stuff as a kid. Also, I'm going to talk to this guy again, and for no reason whatsoever, I'm going to tell you to pay attention to the thing that man was just now saying. Also, fun thing for people with good memories, this is Cullen. As in, the villager in Green Row who says, "Come to think of it, I haven't seen Cullen recently." Or Alan, depending on which version of the game you're playing. Oh, come on! There we go! I think I pulled it back with that combo at the end. Maximum life! Oh, and it's another beat them room. Apparently a boss wasn't enough. We have to have at least 2 smaller gauntlets before we can get to the goodies. And I don't think I can do my favorite thing here. See, what I used to do was to stand on top of one of these guys and let them beat each other up trying to get to me. Like I say, monster infighting needs to be something that more games do. Especially since you can use it for background storytelling. Because in Half-Life, for example, bull squids will always attack head crabs if they're in the same room as one another. The implication being one was a natural predator of the other on Zen. Also, geez, how much do these guys have? I picked up like 2 bonus swords and it's still taking me a while to do this. Alright, forget you guys. I'm out of here. I'm going into a nice transitional room that is only there to keep the map looking good. Fantastic! Now, Puzzle 3 is a fairly easy one. Because you remember the scraps of parchment we've been picking up around the level? They tell us what to do here. Oh, said Macbeth. I thought I had picked up more of those than I actually had. Well, whatever. I solved this one on my own when I was a kid, because the answer is kinda obvious. It's red, yellow, green, blue. The order in which you automatically say those colors. Like, it's the order of the spectrum, even. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. You know, my sister once got in trouble at school for not having a mnemonic device to remember the spectrum. She just knew what it was because it's 7 things. Schools! Am I right? Anyways, let's get back on track. Oh, hey man, how's it going? Sure, I'll be seeing you some way through level 3, no doubt. And now... Oh, jeez! Not expecting that. Despite monsters continually respawning in this game with no way to depopulate areas. Ah, whatever, it's fine. Let's keep going. Now, I always associate this particular music with rushing water, because... By the way, the game has a cool bug where if you get hit by fire, you can walk on water. And I'm not entirely sure why, because you can get iframes in the water, but there it is. Anyways, on with the rest of the game. Oh, it's this room! There's a secret in this room. But first, I'm going to go this way to fill up the map a little bit. Actually, wait a second, isn't this the room with the secret in it? Yes! I am on a map-filling rampage! The Sextant is an optional item that is way more useful than it has any right to be. And we'll see why later. But for now, in this room, we need to use this laser to open up the door. Simple, right? A little too simple. So let's shuffle the laser this way and hit that gargoyle to reveal a secret door. Behind which is a limited edition green potion. Oh, and you'd best believe we're going to go ahead and use that green potion right away. I just sort my inventory, and we have full magic! Thank you, green potion! You're a pal! I mean, there is a point later on in the game where you're pretty much guaranteed to fill up your magic, but that's halfway through level 5. It's pretty handy to get a head start on that this soon into the game. Although, come to think of it, level 2 is also where you're most likely to get the best armor in the game. They're just pouring it on up here, you know? Wait a second, did I miss a room? No, everything's filled up as it should be. Okay, cool. So, you know what? Let's talk about the best armor in the game, because this puzzle is garbage. You get it as a random drop from the water lily enemies that you've seen here and about. And it's called the gold armor in English, which is weird because it still has a silver icon. Although in fairness, it was called Satan armor in Japanese, so you can see why they changed that. And you see, this is why this puzzle is garbage. Have I snooked myself? Probably not, because the jumping physics in this game are weird and floaty. We can pull this back. Maybe. Yeah, there we go! Or not? Oh, come on. Yep, there. Nope! It's gonna kill kill me? Damn it, Floor, you're a loose cannon! I told you this puzzle was nonsense. I was gonna do my super cool lunging attack just to show you what for. Now, first things first, let's have a nice healthy meal of fish and fish. 2 fish. Red fish, blue fish. This is the quality commentary that makes people come to my channel. Anyways, these lamps control that platform, and we have to use it to push the chest down, so we can reach it on our own, and hang on, there we go, maximum life! Now read on. This puzzle we really don't need to solve, but let's do it anyway. We have to use the wacky stacking physics to make a tower out of these barrels without knocking any of them down. And this gives us a few extra pixels that we need in height to reach that top pillar. And scroll 3 is a clue towards the red, yellow, green, blue puzzle that we solved just now. And you know what? Let's do this. We have a bunch of magic. Let's show it off. This is Judgment, the spell you get when you cast all 4 elements together. It does damage in increments of 5 across a period of a few seconds. Unless you're fighting a boss, in which case it just misses them completely. Because it's useful like that. Ooh, cherries. That is something I haven't ever seen before. How about that? Probably should have waited until I'd taken more damage, but there we go. Now, dear viewer, marvel at the puzzle that stomped the hell out of me when I was a teenager. We have a compass, and we can set it to any of these positions. And I'm going to go and reset the puzzle again. What do you think we need to do to solve this puzzle? Do you think it has anything to do with the man we met not 5 minutes ago who said NEWS is really important and you should remember that in that order? Well, do you? Stupid? Because that's what the solution is. Teenage me couldn't work that out. I had to call Chris again. His parents must have been sick of talking to me every 20 minutes. Wait a second. This sinister bloke wasn't being entirely honest with us and just used us for shenanigans. Man, I sure hope that doesn't come back to bite us in the ass 4 levels from now. Oh, and now it's a boss fight, so let's go! So there's a bit of translation chicanery going on in this part of the game, because Bloodrogue said we'd be sacrificed to the demon Ramia, and Ramia is a character that we meet later on in the game. Like, they play a fairly pivotal role. But that's not his name in the European version of the game. In the European version, he's called Huster, and every instance of Ramia in the script was replaced with Huster to account for it, except for the one line of dialogue that we just saw. And I think I know why. See, the enemy that we're fighting right now is basically a Lamia, a monster that has a snake's tail and a human torso. And given how L's and R's are notoriously interchangeable within Japanese, Ramia is also an acceptable translation. Alright, come here, you! Oh, also, if you unlock one of the game's debug menus, this scene is called Ramia. So, I think that's the name of this monster, and the translation team misfired a little bit when they used that as the name for the character that we meet later on. And I'm actually happy that I got all that out before I killed this guy. Like, I thought I'd have to stall for time at the end or something. But no, I think we're doing alright. Yeah, okay, that got parried too. Whatever. This game is weird sometimes. Alrighty, so that's the end of the Lamia. And episode 2. So join us next time for more Light Crusader. And until next time, goodbye!